In the first chapter of history, we studied about historiography and we understood that historiography is the way is the method, is the process of writing history. In the first chapter, we also studied how history has been written by different people of the West. And when we say West, we refer to countries in the Western Europe, especially France, Greece, that part of the world. In the second chapter of your history course, this also is about historiography. But because we are Indians, we live in India, we also should know how history has been written in India. So this chapter is about that only, the Indian tradition of historiography. कि इंडिया में कैसा लिखा गया है, क्या हमने देखा है, क्या हम उससे सीख सकते हैं. Just like we do whenever we start a new chapter, we will look at what this chapter contains and how we need to study, and we will start studying the chapter itself. Let us begin. So as I said, in the previous chapter, we studied about the Western tradition of historiography. We call those Western countries because they are west of India. Also, they are western part of the Europe. There is a big difference between how things developed in the Eastern Europe and how things developed in the Western Europe. Western Europe historically more industrial, more progressive. They have developed much faster. They are richer also compared to Eastern Europe. This is where democracy started, and this is where people tend to believe the tradition of historiography started. But we will see if it is right or wrong. But before we move to this chapter of Indian historiography, can you quickly tell me which all historical scholars did we study about in the previous chapter? We will study the historiography in India. Be very, very careful. Historiography, Indian tradition, when we study the chapter, it is not only about Indians writing history. It is not. It is about history written in India. It is about where the history was written, not who wrote. So we will come across many foreign names. We will come across very Indian names also. Both will happen. So Indian tradition doesn't mean done by Indian people. Here Indian tradition means something that happened in our country, India. Unlike the previous chapter, this chapter is we can group the content of this chapter in two different ways. One, first part of the chapter is divided by time. So first we will look at about Indian historiography in ancient period, पुराने ज़माने में, बहुत 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 पुराने. Then we will look at historiography, Indian tradition in medieval period, माने मध्यकाल. Ancient period is called Puratan Kal, medieval period is called Madhyakal, middle. And then we will look at how history has been written in the modern period. After doing that, we will focus on the modern period, and we will focus based on the ideologies कि कैसे सोचा गया है, what was the fundamental idea कि society कैसा चलता है, कैसे लिखा जाता है, उसके हिसाब से किस तरीके से. So we will come across these words: colonial, orientalists, nationalistic, post-independent, आजादी के बाद, Marxist. You should be able to connect Marxist with the name Karl Marx. Subaltern, feminist. So some names will be new, some words will be new, and some words will be old. Right? So this is not just based on time. This is not just by timeline. It is both by timeline, also it is by ideology. Let us see how the chapter is in the textbook so that you know your way around the chapter and the pages. This is how the chapter looks. So first we start with the ancient period. So time-wise, ancient period. We move to, on the second page, we move to medieval period. There is, of course, less information in the ancient period section, little more information in the medieval period section. Then we look at the modern period. And then the structure of the chapter changes. From time, we move to ideology, ideological frameworks. Here we are looking at colonial, orientalist. Right? We will come across many new names. Nationalistic, post-independence, Marxist, subaltern, and feminist. Very nicely written chapter which covers many aspects of Indian tradition of historiography. It is not restricted to Indian writers. It is not restricted to Indian scholars. It covers Western scholars, foreigners. It covers men, women. It covers pre and post independent India. It covers ideologies and time. It covers scholars and specifics related to Maharashtra also. A very well written chapter, very interesting chapter. Our agenda for today for this session is very small. We will just start the first part of the chapter which is called the history, the ancient period, long time ago. Once again, in Hindi, it is Puratan Kal, Puratan, ancient. Now, although we said historiography is about writing history, we in India we have a tradition. We have had a tradition of not just writing, but even before writing was invented. Even before writing was invented, India has had a tradition of oral recitals. Oral recitals means मुंह जबानी, बताना, सुनाना, गाकर, समझाकर, कहानी के हिसाब से पढ़ाकर. Because we are talking about a time long time ago when we did not know how to write. People, writing is not a simple thing. To write, we need to have a script. Script मतलब जिससे हम लिखते हैं. जैसे हम इंग्लिश लिखने के लिए हम ABCD यूज करते हैं, हिंदी लिखने के लिए हम अ आ इ ई यूज करते हैं. So we should have a script. SCRIPT. To write, we also need something to write on. Or paper is not a very old invention. Paper is a very new invention. You will be surprised to know how late or how recent paper was discovered. Invented, not discovered, invented. So before we started writing, before we had the paper, or before we started writing anywhere, even if not on paper, there was a tradition. हमारे यहाँ ये परंपरा रही है कि हम सुनाते हैं, बताते हैं. क्या सुनाते हैं, क्या बताते हैं? मेमोरीज ऑफ ग्रेट डीड्स ऑफ एंसेस्टर. हमारे दादा परदादा ने क्या अच्छा काम किया था, बड़ा काम किया था, वो चीजें हम नए बच्चों को बताते हैं. माइथोलॉजिकल लोर, कहानियां. लोर मीन्स कहानियां, स्टोरीज. बहुत पुरानी कहानियां. Unfortunately, you have migrated to the cities and you don't live with dada, dadi, nana, nani. But I'm sure you would know that whenever you spend some time with old people, they tell you stories. कि पहले क्या हुआ था, कहानियां सुनाते हैं. Those are mythological laws. So this is how, even if when there was no writing, even if we were not writing the history, we were passing the information
मतलब दूसरे लोग बजा रहे हैं.
from one generation to another generation by speaking. This is called oral recitals, and in India we have a specific name for this, which is called Shruti. सुनकर हम याद रखते थे. Also, another thing that was told about, talked about, discussed was social transitions, कि कैसे समाज में बदलाव हुए, उनके बारे में भी बातें होती थी. If you see the picture, we see a guru or a teacher and students, the disciples, shishya. They don't have any textbooks, they don't have any notebooks, they don't have any tab, they don't have internet. They are talking, discussing, listening, and learning. They are remembering. There is no way at this time, we don't have a script. जब हम लिख लेते हैं तो हमको याद रखना बहुत आसान होता है. जब हम नहीं लिख पाते हैं, हमको लिखना ही नहीं आता है, तब हम बहुत सारी चीजें याद रखनी पड़ती. In the olden days, when we did not know how to write, people used to exchange information and give education through speaking and listening. People used to talk, discuss about what our ancestors have done. They used to tell stories, and they also used to talk about changes that have happened in the society. And the picture here talks about a guru and two shishya. In Hindi, we call guru and shishya. In English, we call teacher and students, disciples. Then, when we moved, when more time passed, when now we are in the 3rd millennium BCE. Now at this time, we have found proofs. We have found things under the ground, facts, which show that people had started writing. But we still don't understand what they have written. If you look at the screen here, this is one of the samples of their writing. So the writing includes some pictures, some letters, right? And these are called inscriptions. Inscriptions means carving, गोदा गया है. मिट्टी में, metal में, पत्थर पे. These are called inscriptions. And the earliest inscriptions that we have found, they belong to the Indus Valley civilization, Sindhu Ghati Sabhyata, Harappan civilization, which was existing in the 3rd millennium BCE along the river Indus. In Hindi, we call it Sindhu. In English, we call it Indus. In the undivided India, it was a river belonging to both the countries. Now that river starts in India and drains in Pakistan. But we still haven't figured out. People still don't understand the script. You see, this is the script. This is what something has been written. Clearly, something has been written. But we still don't understand that. And because of this, the scholars still don't consider that this is the oldest writing, because we still don't understand it. Mainly the Western scholars. But when we look at these things, inscriptions, it is clear that something has been written. Indus Valley civilization 5000 years old it is. जब हम कहते हैं, जब आप सुनोगे कोई बोलेगा हमारी सभ्यता 5000 साल पुरानी है, ये कहां से आए 5000 साल? We are talking about the civilization of Indus Valley, Harappa. Now Abhishek sir has told you how do we calculate the exact year when we say century, how do we know the year, right? Now similarly, there is a new word here, 3rd millennium BCE. Tell me, what years are we referring to here? 3rd millennium BCE. 3rd millennium BCE means 3000 to 2000 year. 2000 BCE. If you want to know more about Harappan civilization, the Indus Valley civilization, there is this beautiful website which is called harappa.com. It has a lot of information of what has been found so far. Very nice pictures, slideshows. We still haven't understood what the script means. What is the meaning of each of these characters? But we do believe that we have been writing something very, very specific. Are you able to see it on screen? If you also go and see some pictures, where are the pictures? Mohenjo-daro is one of the sites where this civilization was there. And this is part of archaeology. Archaeology is the study of science of history, which is buried inside under the earth. So we dig these things out, just like we dig the fossils out. We are not digging the fossils out, but we are digging the buildings and other artifacts out. A lot of research has been done, and we know a lot about these civilizations now. Let me show you the map also. कि कहाँ था ये civilization. We saw how long time ago, when we did not know how to write, even then we had a tradition of passing on history, and that used to happen through talking, speaking, and listening, oral recitals. And then we find the first artifacts, proof of written things from the 3rd millennium BC, from the Indus Valley civilization, but we still haven't understood what has been written. So many people don't consider it writing. More time passed, and when we come to 3rd century BCE, this is where we find the first writings of historical nature, because we are able to understand what has been written. And most of these are the edicts of King Ashoka, Emperor Ashoka. Do you remember which dynasty he belonged to? Which empire? Thank you, Prachi. He was an emperor of the Maurya dynasty. And he ruled almost on all of the current day India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan area. Know it, because we have found these pillars of his notice, information to the public in all these places. So edicts are official orders. Ashok is considered to be a great emperor, but he was also very violent. Only after the war of the Kalinga is the current day Orissa, which resulted in a lot of loss of life, he took the path of non-violence. He adopted Buddhism. But before that, he is known to be very violent. And he was a very able administrator. तक अपने नियम कानून हैं, जो उनके मैसेजेस हैं, वो सब जगह पहुंचाते थे. और कैसे? पत्थरों पे लिखकर. यही उस्मान बता रहा था, writing on the stones. These are also inscriptions. But now we understand these inscriptions. This script is called the Brahmi script. We have found this script being used on stone pillars, rock, at various places. On all these places, the current day Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, all these places, even Kashmir. Brahmi script. Already thousands and thousands of years have already gone by. Right? So there is a lot that we still don't understand properly. There is a that we still haven't studied properly. Maybe you will study and make it available to everyone. As time progressed from 3rd century BCE, we are moving now to 1st century CE, common era. बहुत आगे आ गए. Now, not just on stones, we are finding inscriptions on coins, metal images, sculptures, copper plates. अब मेटल पे भी हमने लिखना शुरू कर दिया. एंड इससे हमको क्या इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रहा है? what information are we getting by studying these things? We are getting to know when and who the kings were, the reign of the kings, उनका राजकाल कब था, डायनास्टिक जीनियोलॉजी कि एक डायनास्टी में कौन दादा था, कौन पिताजी थे, उनके बच्चे कौन हुए, माने किसके बाद कौन राजा बना. This genealogy comes from the word gene, science too. Territorial extent, how big or how small the kingdom was. Administration, काम कैसे होता था. when we read, when we study, हमको पता चलता है कि वो कैसे अपना काम करते. Political events, क्या क्या राजनीतिक चीजें हुई वहां पर. Social organization, how people used to live, families, big families or small families, cities or towns or villages. Was there a government? Climate, we understand कि मौसम कैसा था, बारिश होती थी कि सूखा पड़ता था. And we are also getting information about famines. अकाल भी पड़ा है, उससे हमको पता चला. And on the screen you see one copper plate, one example of the copper plate, which was found in the place where most of you come from. It is from UP, in the district of Gorakhpur. It's called the Sohagora copper plate. So you see there is something written and then there are some pictures also. This picture on the right hand side is supposed to be a granary. Granary मतलब जहां पे चावल धान रखा जाता है, grains रखे जाते हैं. So it is believed that this message says that we should keep the grains safe and distribute them carefully, ताकि अकाल ना पड़े. और अगर अकाल पड़ा हुआ है तो झगड़े न हो, आराम से अच्छे से उसको बांटा जाए. This is the kind of information we are able to get from coins, metal images, sculptures. Sculptures means murtiyan, copper plates. Another source of history has been the literature, both fiction and non-fiction. Fiction is kahaniyan, mangadhant. We write from our imagination. Non-fiction is something about facts. Once again, many people don't consider fiction as sources of history, but it is. Because the way people write, even if it is fiction, it tells us about how they are living, what the society is. So in the Indian context, these great epics means Mahakavya, Mahabharata and Ramayana. These are not they don't have chapters, they are poems. They are big poems, long poems. We have Puranas and Upanishads. Puranas likhe gaye hain. There are many texts which have been written by the Jain Munis and Buddhist monks. A lot of travelers, especially foreign travelers who traveled across the world and India also, they have written about what they have observed. And there have been writings by Indian authors. So all this literature is also something that informs us about what was happening in the ancient period in India. So literature is also a source of history for us as far as ancient period is concerned. And in the context of literature, राइटिंग ऑफ बायोग्राफीज एंड डायनास्टिक हिस्ट्रीज. बायोग्राफी मीन्स किसी के जीवन के बारे में लिखना. खुद लिखेंगे तो वो ऑटोबायोग्राफी होगा, कोई और लिखेगा हमारे बारे में तो वो बायोग्राफी होगा. Now, when people write biographies, when people write about the dynastic histories, then the history becomes more and more informative, systematic. So this is considered an important step in Indian historiography. And one of the oldest biographies that we have is called Harshcharit, which was written 7th century CE. It was written in 7th century CE, written by Banabhat. And what has he written about? What is it? What is this about? It is King Harsha's biography. So there was a King Harsha in those times, 7th century CE, and Banbhat has written about his life. Why is this important? Because now he's not writing from his imagination. He's giving a realistic picture of social, economic, political, religious, and cultural life. So this is more and more scientific information about life during those times. Okay. So what we are saying is, we start from a time when we were not able to write. We did not know how to write. Writing was not invented. So even then we used to pass history by speaking and listening. When we started writing, the earliest evidences that we get is from 3rd millennium BCE, the Harappa Valley civilization. But the script is still not deciphered. उसको हमने अभी तक समझा नहीं. 3rd century BCE, we get many artifacts on stones and rocks and pillars. And these are the official orders issued by the Emperor Ashok. The script, we understand, it is Brahmi script. When we move on, we see that we started writing more and more on metals, coins, metal images, sculptures, and copper plates. And this gives it, we are getting more and more information about the society then. Not just all this. Even when we read our literature of that time, it gives us a reflection. It gives us a hint of how the society was. So this literature includes epics, Puranas, religious texts, travelogues, and other writings. This becomes even more important when we look at biographies and dynastic histories. For example, Harshcharit, which was written by Banabhat, and it is about King Harsha's life. This is about the ancient period of Indian historiography. Because we have very, very less information about what happened so far before in time, and we don't have many reliable sources of history for this time, and also a lot of time has passed. Maybe those things are no longer much relevant, so there are not many questions from this part of the section, this part of the chapter in the textbook. So this will be your homework. You will find out these, find the answers to these questions. Use the internet and try to find out the answers. About invention of paper. When was it invented? Where and who invented paper? Find out, or maybe you know already, who established the Mauryan Empire? Who was the first emperor of the Mauryan dynasty? Third, when was and where was writing invented? Okay. And don't be in a hurry to share your answers of what you know already. Complete your knowledge. Find out what I have asked you to find out and then share. Then read the pages from the textbook, page number 7, 8, and 9, 9 till modern period. Write notes, complete the notes about the ancient period. And we will catch up with history once again, most probably on Friday.